You will never give your all to something that isn't personal. That's the truth people often overlook. You can have the biggest dream, the most polished plan, or all the resources in the world, but if your heart isn't tied to it, you'll always hold back. You'll find excuses when it gets hard. You'll step back when you should step forward, because without a deep emotional connection to what you're pursuing, there's no fire, and without fire, you can't endure the storms. Think about what happens when you make something personal. Everything changes. It's not just a goal anymore. It's a mission. It's not just about winning. It's about survival. It's not about clout. It's about legacy. You stop performing for applause and start moving with purpose. You start running not because you're told to, but because your soul refuses to let you sit still. You don't need motivation when it's personal. You wake up driven. See, when something is personal, you don't hit snooze on the alarm. You don't check the clock hoping the day is over. You don't coast. You grind, you hustle. You stretch yourself past comfort zones and challenge your limits. Not because you have to, but because you want to, because you must, because deep down, it matters to you more than anyone could understand. People give up because the weight is too heavy. But when it's personal, you'll carry it anyway. The pain, the sacrifice, the rejection, it won't stop you. It won't break you. In fact, it fuels you. You'll bleed for it, you'll cry for it, you'll lose sleep, friends, comfort, and convenience for it. Why? Because you know what's at stake. You know who you're doing it for. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's for that younger version of you who was counted out. Maybe it's for the kid you used to be, the one who didn't believe they were enough. When you tie your work to something sacred, something that holds emotional weight, you stop looking for permission. You decide, and that decision becomes non-negotiable. It's easy to show up when things are easy. But what about when the pressure hits? What about when it's dark, when you're tired, when no one's cheering? If your why isn't personal, you'll fold. But if your why has roots in your soul, if it's soaked in purpose, you'll rise. Not because you feel like it, but because you can't afford not to. When it's personal, your emotions no longer control your effort. Discipline takes over. Determination kicks in. And you keep moving, even when your feelings try to shut you down. A lot of people live on autopilot. They wake up, go through the motions, and never dig deep into why they're doing what they're doing. That's why they burn out. That's why they chase validation, because they're disconnected from purpose. But when you align your goals with your identity, your values, and your pain, when you make it personal, you step into another level. You discover fuel that doesn't run out. You find strength you didn't know you had. You move with a sense of urgency, because now it's about more than you. You become dangerous. Not because you're the smartest or the most talented, but because you won't stop. Because you can't. There's something inside of you that demands you keep going. You no longer settle for average because average doesn't serve your purpose. You don't settle for excuses because excuses cost too much. You don't chase comfort because comfort doesn't grow you. Every time you want to quit, your why whispers, keep going. This matters. And so you do. When it's personal, you start seeing everything differently. You stop comparing yourself to others because you're not in competition with them. You're in alignment with your own path. You stop blaming others for what you don't have because now you're focused on what you're building. You stop waiting for opportunities to show up, and you start creating them. You become relentless, focused, unshakable, and that's not something that can be taught. It's something that's uncovered. It's something that's chosen. So ask yourself, what are you doing that really matters to you? What's the thing you would still pursue if no one clapped for you? If no one saw you, if no one believed in it but you? That's what needs to be personal. That's what deserves your full commitment. Because when your heart is in it, when your soul is locked in, there is no backup plan. There is no plan B. You go all in. You burn the boats. You don't turn back. You don't half-step. You show up broken, tired, uncertain, but you still show up. You don't fake effort when it's personal. You don't procrastinate on purpose. You don't make excuses. You make moves. It doesn't mean you won't struggle. It doesn't mean you won't doubt. But it means you'll keep showing up. You'll keep finding a way. Because your purpose is no longer optional. It's essential. And that kind of drive, that kind of fire, it's rare. It's powerful. And it only comes alive when you decide to stop treating your goals like options and start treating them like oxygen. You get one life, one chance. And if you spend it chasing dreams that don't belong to you, if you spend it working for something you don't believe in, You'll always feel empty. But if you choose to make your journey personal, if you root your grind in something real, something raw, something meaningful, you'll find fulfillment even in the fight. Because now you're not just building a life, you're building a legacy. And that legacy starts the moment you decide, this matters to me, I won't quit, I will give it everything. You weren't chosen to suffer. You were chosen to rise. The struggle you're facing right now isn't some cruel coincidence. It's not life randomly targeting you. It's not bad luck. And it's not a punishment. What you're going through is preparation. It's shaping you, molding you, and building something inside you that comfort never could. See, adversity isn't the enemy. It's the assignment. And when you start looking at your pain through the lens of purpose, everything begins to change. There's a reason you've been waking up heavy. A reason you've been feeling the weight of responsibility on your shoulders, even when nobody sees it. People look at the surface, they see your smile, your calm demeanor, your ability to keep it together. But they don't see the battles you fight in silence. And that's okay. Because what you're building isn't for show. What you're building is strength. Quiet strength. That kind of resilience that doesn't need applause or validation to keep going. It just does. Every day. Some people will never understand why you take things so seriously. Why you work late, wake up early, and push yourself past limits that would break most people. It's because to you this isn't just about success, this is about survival. It's about legacy. It's about making sure you never go back to that place, that mental place, that financial place, that emotional place, where you felt like you were nothing. You remember how it felt to be overlooked, to be underestimated, to be broken, and that memory burns deep enough that giving up just isn't an option. When it's personal, discipline hits different. You don't need motivation when the mission has your name written all over it. You move differently when you know that everything you've endured wasn't wasted. Every late night, every early morning, every tear cried in silence. It all matters. Every part of your journey is a brick, and you're building a foundation no storm can shake. The pain wasn't pointless. The delay wasn't a denial. It was construction, internal development, the kind of development the world can't see until the results speak for themselves. You ever notice how the strongest people rarely tell you everything they've been through? That's because when the process is personal, it gets sacred. There's a certain silence that comes with real growth. You don't broadcast everything. You don't need to. Because you know the value of the grind, and more importantly, you know the price you've already paid. You've already cried, sacrificed, and suffered more than anyone knows. And you're still here. Still moving. Still building. That's not weakness, that's endurance. You weren't meant to live an average life. That's why average situations irritate your soul. That's why mediocre environments drain you. Because something inside you knows you're built for more. Not in an arrogant way, but in a purposeful way. You're not chasing a dream just for the dream's sake. You're chasing it because it was planted in you. And when something is planted in you, it grows through seasons. Seasons of rain, seasons of drought, seasons of isolation. But no matter the weather, it keeps growing. Most people only see the results. They don't see the roots. They don't know the sleepless nights, the heartbreak, the doubt you had to crawl through just to stand. But you know. And that's why you can't stop. You're not here to prove the doubters wrong. You're here to prove yourself right. Because you made a decision. A sacred decision. That you would never fold under pressure. That you would never let your past define your future. That you would rise no matter how many times you fell. And that decision? That's your power. Making it personal means you stop waiting for external permission. You don't need someone to give you a title or a platform or an opportunity. You become the platform. You create the opportunity. You don't need someone to tell you that you're good enough. You already decided that. You already know what you bring to the table, and if there's no table, you build one. The fire you feel, that urgency in your spirit, that's not anxiety. That's assignment. That's your soul reminding you that there's more for you. That's purpose whispering, like keep going. And the moment you understand that the trials weren't sent to stop you but to strengthen you, you stop resenting the struggle. You lean into it. You learn from it. You let it shape you. You've been through too much to be normal. Too much to shrink yourself just to make others comfortable. That pressure you feel isn't trying to crush you, it's trying to awaken you. It's trying to birth something new in you. And what's coming isn't small. What's coming is a direct result of everything you've endured with quiet strength and relentless faith. You don't get breakthrough without burden. You don't get elevation without endurance. You want to fly, but first you've got to fight. Fight your doubts. Fight your fears. Fight the voice in your head telling you it's not worth it. Because it is. You are. The journey may not have been fair, but it will be worth it if you don't quit. This is the season where your pain becomes your platform, where the things that were sent to break you become the things that build you. This is the season where you stop hiding, stop apologizing, stop second-guessing. You start stepping up. You start stepping in. Because this isn't just a dream. This is destiny. This is legacy. This is personal. You were chosen for this, not because you're the smartest, not because you have it all together, but because you're willing to become what it takes. You're willing to outlast the hardship. You're willing to be patient when it's painful and consistent when it's lonely. That's rare. And that's why the struggle hit you hard. Not to destroy you, but to define you. You've already made it through what most people would have quit in. That means the hardest part is already behind you. Now it's time to use it, to build from it, to grow through it. Because that's what making it personal really means. Refusing to let what hurt you have the final say. Refusing to stay stuck. Choosing every day to rise. You can't outsource your greatness. That's the truth that separates the ones who dream from the ones who do. Every single person walking this earth has a calling, a mission, something placed inside of them that no one else can touch. But here's what too many people get wrong. They think someone else is supposed to build it for them. They think success is something that's passed down or handed over. They sit back and wait. Wait for someone to open the door, someone to give them a chance, someone to validate them, recognize them, save them. But greatness? Real greatness doesn't operate like that. It can't be handed over because it was never meant to come from the outside. It has to rise from within. There comes a point in life where you realize no one is coming to save you. No mentor, no coach, no boss, no partner is going to care about your dream as much as you do. And if you don't take it personal, if you don't wake up every single day with fire in your chest for that thing you say you want, then you're always going to be chasing, always begging for permission, always looking around for somebody else to lead you into your own destiny. But here's the reality. Your destiny demands your leadership. Your future requires your ownership. People love the idea of success, but they hate the price. Because the price is discipline, the price is sacrifice, the price is accountability. And most of all, the price is ownership. It means waking up on days when you feel empty and still putting in the work. It means holding yourself to a standard when no one's watching. It means not blaming the system, the parents, the boss, the past. It means choosing to rise anyway. Choosing to fight anyway. Choosing to grind, to learn, to fail, and to rise again. Not because someone told you to, but because it's yours. It's personal. You want something big? Then it better mean something big to you. This isn't about motivation. Motivation fades. It's about internal fire. It's about that silent promise you make to yourself that no one hears. The one that keeps you moving long after the applause stops. It's about doing it when it's inconvenient, when it hurts, when it seems pointless. Because you made it personal. Because this isn't about proving something to them, it's about proving something to you. There's power in taking ownership of your story. There's power in saying, no one's writing this for me. No one's handing me the pen. There's power in standing on your own 2 feet and facing the world not as a victim but as a builder, a creator, a warrior for your own vision. That kind of mindset changes how you walk. It changes how you talk. It changes the way you deal with rejection, failure, criticism, because you realize it's all part of the process, and the process belongs to you. You stop looking at obstacles like stop signs and you start seeing them as invitations to rise. People will try to give you shortcuts. They'll try to sell you systems, hacks, formulas. But none of it will matter if you haven't decided deep down that this is yours, that you're willing to fight for it, bleed for it, stay up late and wake up early for it. That you're willing to take losses in silence while the world laughs, knowing your win is coming because your work is real. That kind of commitment scares people, but that kind of commitment also transforms lives. You can learn from others. You can be inspired by others, but you cannot copy someone else's grind and expect it to work for you. You have to develop your own rhythm, your own hunger, your own blueprint. Because your purpose isn't a template, it's a revelation. It's revealed through the struggle, the sweat, the silence. You don't get it from a seminar. You get it from the battlefield of your own effort. The moment you make it personal, everything changes. You stop being casual. You stop waiting. You stop hoping. You start doing. You stop checking who's watching, who's clapping, who's doubting, and you start focusing on the one person who truly matters in your journey, you. And when you shift into that gear, when you start showing up not because you feel like it, but because you're built for it, that's when momentum hits. That's when people start asking, how did you do it? And you'll smile, not because it was easy, but because it was earned. You don't need more followers. You don't need more likes. You don't need more validation. You need more execution. You need more sweat. You need more late nights, early mornings, and silent victories. You need to get so locked in on what you're building that nothing can distract you. Not the critics, not the comparisons, not the fear. Because when it's personal, you don't need to be reminded to grind. You don't need to be hyped up. You don't need applause. You just need opportunity. And when it doesn't come, you build it yourself. The difference between winners and dreamers is that winners make it personal. They don't wait for the perfect timing. They don't wait for the right connections. They build with what they've got. They show up in broken places with unshakable faith. They get turned down, knocked down, and still get back up. Not because it's easy, but because they're not outsourcing their greatness. They know it starts and ends with them. Greatness isn't about talent. It's not about luck. It's not even about being the smartest person in the room. It's about ownership. It's about waking up every day and saying, this is mine, my dream, my responsibility, my legacy. It's about showing the world that you're not waiting anymore. You're ready. You're focused. You're committed. And no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets, you're not going to stop until what's inside of you becomes real, because it's personal.